Well, hello, everyone. If you've landed here, you've landed on Let's Talk News, either by accident or by design. And either way, I am very happy that you're joining us tonight so that we could talk about graham crackers. Graham crackers. Tonight's show is about Senate candidate Graham Plattner, but not just specifically about his candidacy. Um, More about how he got there, more about who recruited him, why he's running, what people are seeking to get out of it. Now, you may have already heard about his um, exploits on Reddit and the things that he said about women who have been raped, the things that he has said about um, soldiers. One of them, Marcus, who wrote Lone Survivor. Well, listen to what Graham has to say about this Marine.
I didn't know who these guys were. I left that deployment and continued on with my life. Did a few more deployments, both in the Marine Corps and the Army. It wasn't until somebody told me to read Chris Kyle's book. His stories about how many people he was shooting certainly tracked with the behavior I witnessed and people I knew witnessed down at the Gov Center, which is it's relatively easy to get high numbers like that if you're a little less discriminating your fire than say a more professional unit would be. So that's when I kind of learned about Task Unit Bruiser, about Chris Kyle, and then it wasn't until many years later that if someone recommended like Jocko's podcast or book to me, and I put that together and was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" I almost felt like there was like a weird practical joke being played on me by the war. That like all these years later, I'm like having to like people are telling me like, "Oh, look how great this guy is. These guys are amazing heroes. This whole incredible thing, the paragon of leadership." And I'm just sitting there like, am I living in like an alternate reality? Because this is the exact opposite of my experience.
So he is pretty fierce in his criticism of the Navy SEAL and the Marine, Chris Kyle, and Marcus. And I'm going to, I think, explain to you why I think that he is, for a Marine, he is so critical of his fellow veterans and also of the leadership in the military. And I think it's going to come out in some of the clips that I play for you tonight. Let me make sure that we put up the comments here. Let's see who's with us. Lucille Chavone, ROG, is with us. Hi, Angela. Angela Rick is with us. Francine is with us. Good to have you. Karen is watching. Great to have you. Stephen Plotkin. Janet Mills should have won the primary, to be honest. Stephen. Well, he pushed her out. And it's interesting that he wasn't alone. So there is dark money and dark people who worked to get Graham Plattner elected. And I'm not so sure that we can discount Neville Roy Singham from being involved in this. I think that his hands were very heavily involved in it. That is my opinion. That's not a fact, and I don't have anything at this moment to back it up except for it sounds and quacks and walks like a duck. So we're going to see. I'm going to look for that proof in the coming days. Hello, Andrew Dorman. Good to have you. And hello, Kevin Wall from the other side of the world, but the same side of the issues. So Plattner didn't just decide that he served in the military and that he served his country and then he was going to continue to serve his country in the United States Senate. No, that's not how it worked. Um, he had done some goofy things, and in this Wall Street Journal interview, he tries to explain them. I would like you to listen very carefully to his words, okay? He's describing the days after he got out of the military in 2012 when he went to college on the GI Bill. Listen to what he says.
And the answer is it is so surreal and so disconnected from the life Amy and I were living.
Sorry, I'm going to stop that and restart it. This first part is the question that was asked is, what does he think about? How is he finding the experience? And I want you to listen to his words. I put it in for a reason. Listen to what he says about running for the Senate. I think it connects all the way through.
And the answer is it is so surreal and so disconnected from the life Amy and I were living before August of last year that in many ways we just kind of disassociate from it. Like, we know it's happening. We know it's big. Yeah.
What was your life like when you were coming back from the military?
I mean, I got out of the service in 2012. Immediately, I was in college. They're going to George Washington on the GI Bill. And I was, quite honestly, very isolated, very alone, very disillusioned, especially after my last deployment to Afghanistan, and suffering from, I mean, frankly, the outcomes of post-traumatic stress disorder, which for me manifested primarily in depression and anxiety. I spent a lot of time kind of trying to figure out ways to just feel connected to people, but while also being really angry at society in general.
That anger came out in your Reddit post.
Well, which is why that's why the internet was where I found a lot of that outlet.
And the people around you, did you ever do anything harmful to people around you? Did you treat
No.
the people in your life well?
Well, I mean, I certainly was a, let's see. I mean, I would say I was not like the best romantic partner in the sense that like I was emotionally unavailable.
But not hurtful in another way. Bad
Oh God!
boyfriend
Oh,
is one.
no. Oh, good Lord, no.
In your speech now, you say you want a political revolution.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I mean, we need to get money out of politics. We need to end partisan gerrymandering. We need to create a system in which entrenched political machines are not the arbiters of power.
When you wake up in the morning, what do you worry about?
Everything. I mean, the biggest thing, like I do not want to screw this up. Like, I don't want, and I don't mean in the sense that like I'm not gonna like do something that's gonna like end this. I firmly know what we're doing. I firmly believe in it. I'm gonna keep working towards it. There's an opportunity here. There's an opening for this kind of politics to really work, and I want it to work. And I want to make sure that all the choices that we make over the next few months moving towards the general, that I want them to be good choices.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little bit. So first of all, he said that his life is so different now that he disconnects himself, disassociates himself from running for office. That's interesting, because you would think that somebody who wanted to serve in the United States Senate wanted to be very connected with the fact that he's running and with people, and he wanted to hear them and represent them. But that's not what he says. He also says that he suffered PTSD and that he had a hard time connecting with people, which supports the fact that he's disassociating himself with what's actually taking place in him running for office. So everything about that commentary was showing us that this is an actor. This is somebody playing a role. This is not somebody who's actually in it for the purpose of serving in the legislature. And then when he was asked, what does he worry about? What does he get up worrying about in the morning? He didn't say the economy. He didn't say the future of my children. He didn't say that we're in a war, with Iran, and he who has PTSD doesn't want to see more men and women exposed to war. He didn't say those things. He said he doesn't want to screw it up. He doesn't want to do anything to screw this up, this opportunity, because somebody hired him to do this job and he doesn't want to fuck it up. He never once said that he thinks about the people of Maine and their struggles. He never once said he thinks about the price of electricity and gasoline and the fact that people can't make their bills. So do you see how that candid conversation where he was very relaxed and clearly he had his talking points, but he was very relaxed, and that tells me a lot about who he is and what his intentions are, and his intentions aren't good. Hi, Kevin Young. Hi, Professor. Good to have you. He's not mentally okay. You heard that too, right? He's angry. He is, and he was trying to cover for, the Reddit post, the angry Reddit post. And then when he said he was not emotionally available, so he wasn't a good boyfriend, that was to address the women who said that he was rough with them and did not great things. Yeah, not the best partner. Good, Karen. I heard that too. Not the best partner. Professor says, so he's against the 17th Amendment dollars. Well, the interesting thing is that, in a clip coming up, you're going to see that part of the reason that he ran was money. And you'll see. Professor says he's against big dollars in trending politics news. Yeah, but guess who his mentor is? Bernie Sanders, the guy with all the money. Big dollars in Washington. Yes, indeed. And he's going to make it. And that's the whole purpose. The purpose is to undermine America. So who hired this man? Who hired him? Well, here's the people that hired him.
How did you come to decide to come to Maine, and why Maine?
God, well, I mean...
Wait a minute. Sorry. Let me show you this one first, okay?
Dan has been running a number of campaigns, including Graham Plattner. At the same time, he's been a Yale law student. How, really?
Yeah, really. I've seen his transcript. I attended his graduation.
Plattner isn't the first candidate the couple has on its roster. They first met while working on Sanders' presidential campaign in 2020. By that point, Moraff had already led a progressive Democrat, Summer Lee, to win a state house seat in Pittsburgh, and Lee went on to become a member of Congress. Then they set their sights on Nebraska, where they recruited Dan Osborne, an independent, to run for the Senate in 2024. Despite losing against Republican Deb Fischer, Osborne came within a historically slim margin, and now he's running again this year against another incumbent, Pete Ricketts. What do you look for in a candidate? What do you think makes a successful candidate?
Somebody who feels authentically reflects the culture of the district that they come from. It astounds me how many Democratic candidates are recent transplants to their districts, and that they have, appointed themselves the right kind of person to run in that district.
I think a healthy contempt for existing Democratic Party infrastructure is really essential. That infrastructure does really horrible things to candidates and to campaigns.
Okay, so these two consultants were not alone. They're working with some other people to bring the type of candidates that they want into the mix. And Dan's one of the people that Dan put together. Hold on a second. One of the people that Dan put together His name is Katz, and he helped Mamdani win. Watch.
To build his confidence that you really could build a campaign around him.
We told him we'd raise his first $1 million. We told him we'd surround him with competence and people who were doing it for the right reasons.
One of those people was Morris Katz. He met Plattner shortly after Maraf and Fan discovered him, and he worked with the pair through the vetting process. Together, they've recruited and advised a number of other working-class candidates, including firefighters in Wisconsin and Washington, and iron workers in Ohio and Oklahoma.
That one job was enough to support a family of 8.
Katz built his reputation with viral ads that helped boost Zoran Mamdani from 1% name recognition to the New York City mayor's office.
Will you accept this rose?
So, see where I'm going with this? So, they have built a portfolio of candidates who are socialists who have won around the United States. And these are people that are in college. These are students that are doing this. It's amazing, isn't it? That these young students are doing so well in politics and able to raise so much money. $1 million. He said that we'll raise you your first $1 million. Where do you think they got that money from? Enter my theory of Neville Roy Singham. We have Angela says, but he had no problem on sexting sites. He's a lying piece of shit, Plattner. Yeah, that Kick site that he was on is notorious for young children. As a matter of fact, there's been a warning about it because there's nothing that's traceable. You don't show the phone number. It's not hosted on a site. The messages are on your phone. So they're like, if anything bad were to happen, the FBI, CIA, whoever, their law enforcement would have a hard time tracking it. So that's why that Kick is such a problematic site. And Platinum was on it until just recently. Young people. We have new people with us tonight. Scott Gunst. He's tagging Jessica Keene, and he's saying, Porta Potty Plattner, he's a fucking pig. Yeah, he is. And I'm concerned, but it's bigger than just Plattner because this group of kids they're recruiting people, no matter their background, to be their soldiers, to be their useful idiots, to propagandize Americans and to infiltrate, if you will, the American government. And it's working. Stephen Plotkin says, nobody with an offensive tattoo deserves to run for office. Well, I don't think it's the tattoo, but what the tattoo stands for, right? He was willing to put that mark on his body forever. How deep does your belief in something have to go to put it in ink on your body? Pretty deep. I have some tattoos on my body, and they're all with respect to spirituality. And there was some pain involved, but I put them on my body because I believe deeply in that, my spirituality. So are you telling me that Plattner was so dumb that he didn't know what he was putting in his body? I don't think so. I think that he knew exactly what he was doing. I think that he's an awful person. And I think that he is a racist. And I think that he's an anti-Semite. And I think that he is an abusive man to women. I think that his wife is as airheaded as Mamdani's wife is, and is looking for fame, fortune, something, or money, because she was the one who told the consultants about the women he was sexting. So something's wrong here. Something's off. Is AOC's rise to fame familiar? Very much so. And I will show you in a minute. The girls on The View were talking shit about Graham. Well, listen, I don't know. I never agree with the girls on The View. But if we're going to say always believe the women, then we're going to have to believe the women all the time. I have a problem with that just blanket believing women, but you can't, they can't talk out both sides of their mouth. So hopefully they're being consistent. Scott says, when you have the View trashing Plattner, about lost it. Yeah, I about lost it. Well, that would be interesting if they came to their senses. All right, I want you to listen now to Daniel and Leanne talk about how they vetted Graham. This is going, for lots of reasons, this is going to drive you crazy. It drives me crazy. It's like nails on a chalkboard. Dan's voice.
How did you come to decide to come to Maine, and why Maine?
God, well, I mean, I think it was the spring of 2025, and, Susan Collins is an establishment politician who's been there forever, and it's very easy to hold her accountable for the problems that we face, unless we run somebody who is even more an establishment politician and even more responsible for the problems we face.
How did you find Graham Plattner?
Well, so, we went through thousands and thousands of prospects. We, through a number of means, assessed just a huge amount of people. Then, Leanne pulled up this video of this guy with an oyster farm.
My name is Graham Plattner, and I live in Sullivan, Maine, the owner of Frenchman Bay Oyster Company.
And then she pulled up his FEC history and saw, the money he'd given to Bernie Sanders and, some other people. And that was enough information to know that we had the best prospect that we'd maybe ever seen.
At this point, you hadn't vetted Graham Plattner. You hadn't done a full scrub of who he is. How did you go about vetting him? And why did you?
We paid a nice firm a whole chunk of money and got some stuff back. Some of what you've seen on the news we got back. Other stuff we didn't.
Did the vetting process turn up the tattoo that became so controversial?
No.
The Reddit posts, did that turn up in the vetting process?
The firm sent us a thing, and it had some of the posts, but it didn't have all of them.
And what did you think about that? How did you think your way through the fact that he had posted these things on social media?
I said none of this will or should stop him from becoming a U.S. Senator.
And what was your
Clearly the
thinking
voters
there?
agree. I think if what the voters wanted were people who were grown in vats and had never done or said anything that they might regret their entire lives, we'd have a very different country. Part of our thesis here is that people do not want their candidates grown in vats. They want people who are real human beings, and they want people who do not look and sound like the vat-grown people who've been leading this country off a cliff for the last century. And that was Graham.
Just days after this interview, more details about Plattner's past emerged. The Journal reported that his wife, Amy, had alerted the campaign to sexually explicit texts that he had exchanged with several women earlier in their marriage. And shortly after that, the New York Times reported that some women who previously dated Plattner recalled unsettling behavior during their relationship. Plattner told the Journal in a statement that he had been far from a perfect boyfriend, but that any characterization beyond that is false. And when we followed up after these additional reports to ask Moraff whether he and his partners had sufficiently investigated Plattner, Moraff told us, "We will let the people of Maine decide."
Okay. So if you could stand to listen to him trying to uptalk like a Californian, I have no clue why he's doing that to his voice. But if you could get through that, you heard him say that he didn't care, basically, about the controversy. He wanted somebody who could connect with the people. But more importantly, the thousands, tens of thousands of people auditioning, right? The headshots of tens of thousands of people were put in to this group of kids. And they're kids. I mean, they're chuckling over paying big money to a firm, a research firm, who didn't uncover all this stuff that we're seeing now. Right there, that would really make me wonder how competent they are. That they spent big money by their own admittance and got nothing back. But when they were asked, they chuckled like children. I'm sorry. These are not the adults in the room. These are maybe the staff workers. These are the front men and women, but these are not the adults in the room. The people in the room who understand politics and how to play the game and how to get votes out and how to electronically move commercials and the algorithm, those people are the ones running the show. Those are the same people that, found us, Zohran Mamdani, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib. These are bad actors infiltrating America's government. There's a lot of comments here. Let's just see what they are. Okay. Gary Stolzberg sucking. AOC. Suck and fuck her way to the top. No, she didn't. She auditions. And I'm going to show you that in a minute. I'm going to remind you, when you have The View trashing Plattner, I about lost it. I don't like The View, but to have them talk trash about Democrats makes it worth watching. This is Scott Guns talking, if you can't see it on your screen. David Jones should have won. Bobby Charlie is a walking commercial. Angela says, I can't listen to, that was Dan. Let's see. There should be a law that, this is Kevin Young. Should be a law that no one be allowed to run for office if it has to do with socialism or communism. This is not the country to practice this. We don't need their ideology to destroy our country. Is this Mamdani's brother? He sounds like him, almost looks like him. No, it's not Mamdani's brother, but they're from the same ilk. Okay, they all are from the Justice Democrats, from Pink, from the other one that Roy Neville Singham has in New York. They're all from the same group. The Democrat Socialists of America, they all belong together. Lucille says he's an idiot. Gary says, hopefully this will be used against them. Well, you got to be able to listen to the voice. I mean, the fact that they gave that interview is, to me, it's like a psycho killer, right? Who wants to be recognized by the press, wants to see his or her name in the press. This is what seems like is going on here. We want to see how stupid Americans really are. We're going to tell you right to your face that these people don't have the heart to represent you. We're auditioning actors to do it. See how stupid, how many useful idiots are out there for them. Scott says, I live in Maine and I'm a no-go on Plattner. I voted David Jones. Oh, good. And I'm sorry that your state is going through this, because they seem to like throw darts at a map and decide where they're going to go to fuck up the government. This group of people, the Socialist Democrats. Professor says, we have a man who is running for Senate and openly is against big dollars in DC politics. Seventh Amendment is a basis for centralized money in DC. Angela Ricca, what firm hired these two? No. They have their own firm. That's the whole thing. That's the problem. Okay, you got it? That's the problem. They created their own firm. He's right now, or was in Yale Law School, and he's running these campaigns while in Yale Law School. Something ain't right. It's not adding up. Look at California, Hakeem Jeffries. Yeah, indeed. I mean, Hakeem Jeffries is another one. Trump likes to say central casting. Well, these people, central casting is very, very shocking. The professor, before the 17th Amendment, big dollars had to travel to capitals and bribe state bigwigs. That's true. That's absolutely true. Okay, so I just want to remind you how we got AOC. We've talked about this on the show before, but watch.
Back in 2016, we put out a call for nominations, trying to capture the diversity of background, of experience of the American electorate, the people that aren't currently represented in office. We got over 10,000 nominations. Out of those 10,000 nominations, we found Alexandria.
My brother told me that he had sent my nomination in the summer, but I was like literally working out of a restaurant then. And I was like, there's no way.
Her profile is not what you'd think of as someone who should run for office, right?
No, it's not. And she shouldn't be serving either. But she is. Why? Because we had some algorithm movers and we had big money behind her, and it wasn't American money. The money has not been coming in through the American people. It's coming from foreign entities. And today, Act Blue was in Congress defending itself and the fact that it has put donations through in the names of regular people. And when the regular people were asked if they made those kinds of donations, they all said no. Some people on fixed incomes were donating $50,000 and $60,000. So we've got a problem here, and we can't be distracted by Epstein files and this war with Iran and gas prices. We've got a problem. People are trying to infiltrate our government. People who don't belong here are trying to undermine America from the inside, and groups like this are holding auditions for people to run for office, and they're bankrolling them with foreign money that is being filtered through Act Blue. Facts. I'm not telling you that. They're telling you that. They are exposing themselves with every interview they give, Justice Democrats, that video that I just showed you about AOC, that video is a half an hour long. And I think that you all remember, we saw the majority of that video in the past. They put it up on their website. They're very proud of their work. Mamdani, proud of his work. The Socialist Democrats videotape and put on YouTube all of their meetings, and they all say the same thing. They're using the Democratic Party and its members as useful idiots, as a host party, if you will, so they can get socialism in. But they really do hate the Democrat Party. And you saw Dan say the same thing about the Democrat Party. So thankfully, they're not the only one with problems. The Republican Party has problems too. We have Mitch McConnell and John Thune. So I'm not going to just throw stones at the Democrats, but we have an active situation where people are trying to undermine our constitutional republic. They're trying to turn our constitutional republic into a socialist nation. Problem. Big problem. Francine says they are laughing at us because they are sadly winning. 100%, Francine. Thank you, Andrew Dorman. I hope you learned something. I hope you saw stuff that you didn't see on other news channels. But kudos to the Wall Street Journal for getting those two, Leanne and Dan, to interview with them, and Plattner. I learned a lot. You should definitely look and watch that whole, it's only 16 minutes. Watch that whole interview. It will make your hair stand on edge. And Google a little bit about AOC and how she got where she is today. Kevin says we need to wipe out socialism, make it an illegal party. The whole thing is that you can't. Yeah, I get what you're saying, right? But the party itself, I don't know if you can outlaw it, but to try to undermine the Constitution of the United States, or to utilize the fact that it's ever evolving and changing, to try and change it to socialism, change our form of government to socialism. It's such a slippery slope. Kevin, it's a slippery slope because if you outlaw one party, then why can't you outlaw them all? And then when you start to outlaw parties, then are you acting as an authoritarian regime? That becomes the issue, right? You don't want to. We've already seen the Democrats trying to prosecute Trump as a political enemy, and Christians and pro-lifers and so many other people who, journalists. So we've already seen that happen, and we all said foul. We should not, in my opinion, do the same thing to them. So how do we go about it? We have to really educate people on the fact that if you want to adopt socialism, then you do want to rip up the United States Constitution, because there's no room for socialism in the U.S. Constitution. You get it? So, they are trying to reform America and reform governments. Look what happened in revolution, right? A revolutionary government. Well, there's no need to have a revolution in America. There's no problem here. But they're brainwashing people, or they're pretending that there's a fascist in the White House. They're pretending that that what Trump is doing is authoritarian. But it's not, because they wouldn't be able to say the shit that they say if it was. People have to be educated. People have to, get rid of their phones and understand what their future will look like in a socialist society. And that in a complete democracy, the minority voice does not get heard. There will be no conversations about black, white, brown, white supremacy. If the whites are the majority and they all vote a certain way, everybody else goes by the wayside. Let's see. Gary says, are we voting faces into office while others pull strings? 100%. That's what that's all about. We have puppets, and Biden was one of them. The professor says Connecticut compromise envisioned small states being equal to big states in the Senate. To do that, independent states pick senators plus, not voters. Oh, I'm not sure I followed that. Maybe somebody else does. I'm just two big states. Can I envision small states being equal to? Yeah, okay. So, right, that's why we have 2 senators in every state. I got it. So you're saying because we have 2 senators in every state? I don't know. Not a majority of the people are not making the decision about what goes on in the Senate. I'm not following. I'm sorry. It is mind blowing, Angela. They're just using the Democrat Party as their placeholder. They're using it as a host, like body snatchers, and states' rights too. Kevin says, only thing is people aren't getting educated. That socialism is doing, especially in New York. Okay, Professor says 1 man, 1 vote. I get what you're saying, Professor. Well, then that would also get rid of the Electoral College, which might be okay. I don't know. I always feared getting rid of the Electoral College. I thought that was a big move. I don't like opening up the Constitution like that for anything, because once you start making changes, big changes, especially in today's day and age, when we see in Los Angeles that they just passed a law that you can't require voter ID. It's illegal to ask a voter for ID in California. So when you have shit like that happening, I really worry about opening up the Constitution. All right. Well, we're over. I'm not going to see you tomorrow night. I will see you back here Tuesday. Love you all. Thank you. We're going to go to 3 days a week while Mom is convalescing, because it's just too much for me. I hope you'll stick with me. I thank you for being here tonight. And Scott from Maine, I'm really sorry that you're going through all this so much. Professor says Electoral College has nothing to do with the 17th and Second Amendment. 17th Second Amendment? Okay. I've got to go get more educated on what the professor is talking about. See you all on Tuesday. Have a great weekend, everybody. Love you. Thank you, Angela. Oh, by the way, today is Colleen's Mahoney's birthday. Everybody wish her a happy birthday, okay? Go on her Facebook page and wish her a happy birthday. She's been having a rough week. I'm sure you saw the car in the woods. So happy birthday, Sissy Colleen. Love you all. Be good.